wait a minute.
You've literally put me through hell since this company started. You hit me with a car. You've tried to fucking kill me every time we've been in the same building. You've been looking for your chosen son. Well, I'm not your fucking chosen son, but I want a match for the heavyweight championship with Johnny Blackcraft right now.
What?
And I am telling you that that is not going to happen. And you do not get to make demands of me.
I'm not asking. I'm telling you.
You don't tell the preacher shit.
And I am telling you that that is going to happen over my dead body.
Oh no.
For a project as unique as Blackcraft Wrestling, uncovering its genesis was the first step in understanding what led to its beginnings, as well as its untimely end. Brandon Lombardo, one of the head figures for creative decisions in booking talent over at BCW, was all too happy to provide the inside story.
So the original concept of Blackcraft Wrestling, I'll never forget the day. I was asleep, and my friend who I live with, Bobby Shabinsky, who owns Blackcraft Clothing, he knocks on my door. He's like, "Bro, wake up. I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's like 1 o'clock. I should probably wake up anyway, right? So I go out, and I sit in the living room, Indian style on the floor, and he goes, Blackcraft Wrestling. And I said, oh, okay, now you piqued my interest. What do we have here? And he lays it on me. He says, I have all these contacts, and they collaborate with Blackcraft Clothing, and they're in the wrestling world. And, there seems to be some sort of a catch there, people like it. So what if we did a wrestling promotion based around it? And I said, well, it's not a bad idea, man. And, the motif and the imagery of Blackcraft carried through in the wrestling world. There's a lot of potential there to do some cool stuff. So I was definitely intrigued. And, from there, it was just like, okay, we hit the ground running and we just started going.
But if you're gonna start a revolution, you're gonna need soldiers. Here are just a few of the brave men and women who stepped into this radical and experimental new company, not knowing what would be waiting for them on the horizon.
We see Matthew Justice storming to the ring.
My involvement began with it. Bill had asked me, he said they were filming like a vignette shoot somewhere in the woods in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. I figured fuck it, I wasn't even gonna go, but then luckily I ended up going because it was at that shoot. There was some druids marching in the woods. And G-Raver was one of the main guys that was there with me. There's a couple other people too. And it just happened that we were there and they were talking about their first show, and it was yeah, we're going to do a ladder match. And they're like, you and G-Raver will be perfect for it. But that's literally how I got booked. I was a druid in a promo shoot, And then I was booked on the first show. So that's how I got into the crazy world of Blackcraft wrestling, I guess.
The thing is with Blackcraft, I know Bobby Shabenski, and Bobby Shabenski is very, very good friends with my daughter. So the link was there. He's got a load, like many wrestling friends that he met outside before they kind of went up the scale. And it was like, you know, we need a woman to lead the women's division. And obviously my daughter put my name forward, and Bobby went, hell yeah, we could do an Undertaker sort of run with her. And oh my God, she's going to cause carnage. And oh my God, yes. And that was literally it. And I was down at Epic Studios and we were filming one of our shows, and I get a phone call and it's Bobby, and it's like, hey girl, are you up for it? Would you come and do it? And I was going, yeah, Bobby, of course I will. Of course I will. I mean, you get to hang, I get to see my daughter, I get to do what I love. You know, I've been given carte blanche to do what I want. So, you know, and that's how it all came about. It's like, I'll do that. I will definitely do that. Make me part of this crazy gang.
Introducing from Miami, Florida, weighing 220 pounds, Sicky Dice.
So a little backstory on me. Graduated from the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, the third graduating class. Been hustling and on the grind all over the country. And I had seen that Blackcraft Wrestling, Blackcraft had started a promotion. They were going to be starting Blackcraft Wrestling, and they had went and filmed some shit at the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. Is how I first saw it. They did Black and Brave Blackcraft Battle Royal, and at the school, and the winner from that would be going to Blackcraft Wrestling. And I was like, dude, WTF. I'm like, not to toot my own horn, but toot. I'm the top prospect out of the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, and I had no idea that this was going on. It was then I was able to get through to Bill Molnar, and he was booking for Blackcraft, and I tried to get in. And he said, I'm sorry, the show's full. And I said, well, look, I'm willing to fly myself there for this opportunity. Give me one shot, and I'll cover the travel, and we'll go from there. He's like, let me see what I can do. So he gets back to me within like 24 hours, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, they really want a flippy guy for this first match. And I said, dude, fuck a flippy guy. I was like, I will entertain way more than any flippy guy. I was like, just give me a shot. And he's like, it sucks you're so far away, because the first show was in Pennsylvania. And I said, no one said anything about distance. He's like, give me a second. And then he's like, boom, you're booked. I was like, sick. So I got my plane ticket. I flew to Pennsylvania, and the first show was Burning Bridges, and it was in this sick-ass church in Pittsburgh. And lo and behold, I got to wrestle the first match for Blackcraft Wrestling against KTV.
I go admire the testicles on the man.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, Bees, that's outlandish.
And from the 6th Ward, weighing 185 pounds, here is
You know, of course, whenever, you know, the opportunity of, hey, do you want to come work for Blackcraft Wrestling? And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I had already purchased like the shirts years ago when they first started up, and I thought it was cool. So it just it was hand in hand. It just kind of made sense to me. I guess I was like, you know, I'm all in. I just hope it works out. I hope they picked me, and, you know, they had me be a part of it. You know, it was kind of like this just heavy hit of like, man, you went from doing all these small independent shows, and you see what they do, and you enjoy the product of what they have, but then you see when somebody puts like the backing behind something and really wants to like make a production out of it.
When choosing the leader for a cult, it's important to give it the epic presence and sinister charisma it truly deserves. And who better for the job than a true thespian and the man who helped bring one of horror cinema's most iconic monsters to life? It would be none other than Doug Bradley, better known as the featured character Pinhead from the Hellraiser film franchise.
Blackcraft had collaborated with Doug on a few pieces before, and he was just someone that's been a close contact with the brand. And as we started to put this thing together, we tried to develop a story, and we said, okay, well, we need some kind of an authority figure, right? Like we want this to be more story based. We don't want it to be like a spot show. We don't want it to be like a one-off. The card changes every week. Like we want the same guys there. We want to tell stories. So we need some sort of an authority figure to kind of keep things under tow there. So we thought, what about Doug? Because he's got this mystique to him,
Luck is never on your side. Only your fate awaits.
We wanted him to be this over-exuberant preacher type character who would just lure you in, but really at the end of the day, his intentions were easy.
For many, what brought BCW to their attention were the visually amazing hype videos that peppered social media on the way to their inaugural event, Burning Bridges. One specifically, though, had everyone talking.
Suggested for mature audiences. Parental discretion advised. Persons under 18.
Take your shirt off! Take your shirt off! I told you take your shirt off! I said rip that shirt off! He's ready for the surgery! It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
I think it was Bill who said, hey, we need to get PCO. I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. So I became the contact at PCO then because I wanted to do some merch with him. At the time, he didn't have any t-shirts out. I thought, okay, if we could be first to market with that, maybe it'll crush and, we could do good there. And I call him, and we just generated this friendship over the next, few weeks, back and forth phone calls, maybe an hour or two a day, just trying to get some things on lock, ideas. He's a great guy, man. He's one of the best guys I've met throughout this entire thing. But he has crazy ideas. It's like 2 a.m, I'm at a hotel, it's hot, I'm just like over it. But I knew we had a shoot with PCO scheduled for the next week in Pittsburgh. So he calls me and he says, I have an idea. I'm like, okay. And he runs me through the idea that was basically the promo that we put together there. I said, wow, this is crazy. I need to find a guy now by Monday who's gonna just cut you open because I don't have this kind of context. I just don't. So I put it up to one of our guys in PA, Bill. I said, hey man, can you find me a guy who does scarification? PCO really wants to do this bit where we cut him open.
The blood out, it's gonna be re-blood coming out.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's gonna do that, but I wish it would.
Okay.
Because we better leave it there.
Okay.
And
yeah, it's hard to say.
Just toss a little bit of blood with your fingers, but keep some, because we gotta show that it keeps on bleeding.
Yeah.
So if we're taking everything down, it's not gonna look deep enough.
Okay.
That's my scared. I'm scared about that.
And he found me a guy, and when we showed up, the guy had no idea that we were filming. He didn't know what we were really doing, but he's like, all right, I'm down. And he just fit the part perfectly. The guy's name's Rev. He's an awesome guy in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh Tattoo Company, I believe it is. And he just played the part perfectly, not even knowing what we were about to do that day.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Cutting open another human being and putting a battery into his chest.
Let's do the insertion.
But that was probably the most intense video shoot I've ever directed and been a part of. Done creative too. When I said, well, what about that piece of skin, that you're throwing on the ground? What if you just ate it?
Human no more. You're not human no more.
And he's like, that's a great idea. And he decided to eat it. And yeah, dude, that thing really it was crazy. It was a crazy day.
After weeks of announcements, hype videos, and teasers, Blackcraft Wrestling debuted with Burning Bridges in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. With a stacked card, a live band, and the promise of 3 championship matches, the expectation to deliver was set.
To be honest, I mean, they took care of us. That's one thing for sure. If anyone doesn't say, Blackcraft Wrestling definitely took care of us, and a lot better than most independent wrestling companies did. They had they paid for lighting rig, professional stage, not like, some stage some guy built out of wood. It was professional stage, video screen. They had falling in reverse place.
Put your fucking hands in the motherfucking sky!
When I first walked into the building, it was just electric. I mean, people were buzzing. There was fans outside. It was big news. It just felt the big vibe. And you've got a satanic, not satanic as in the thing, a satanic looking vibe wrestling company doing their first show in a monastery. And all the acts are sleeping in the monastery in 4-poster beds. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just can't even put into words the feeling of all of these weird and wonderful characters and all demonic and, piercings and fire breathers and all of these weird and wonderful looking people that the everyday person is going to think like, shit, who the fuck are they? And we're all tramping into this building, and it's this beautiful, high-arched, high-ceilinged, stained glass monastery with all Bobby's stuff, he's got all his cameras going, and there's people buzzing, and the ring is up, and people are going through their stuff, and it was just such an amazing vibe. And Bobby comes over to me, and it's like, girl, what do you think? It's like, Bobby, I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing for you, mate. I said, this is so fucking insane. And my daughter was there, and I managed to see her, and she gave Britt a quick slap for me on the way through, and the whole thing from start to finish was just an adventure.
Oh no! It's a punt, and it went to the place where I can't say that.
Come on!
There it is! Stand for your queen! Stand for your queen, Pittsburgh! The royalty at Blackcraft Wrestling, Soraya Knight!
Could not ask for a better cheater. Swing a neck breaker, and the cards go everywhere. Where'd they come from? That could be it. Ziggy Dice hooks the leg. Oh, KTB kicks out just in time.
Going in for me, I was greener than goose shit and still very new, so I was at the bottom of the totem pole, and just to be able to work around better talent, giving me a chance to learn and experience, it was a lot of emotions going through that day. I still feel that Burning Bridges was, at that time, the biggest show that I had yet. I feel it was really a good chance to get more eyes on Outlandish Zicky Dice, and at the same time, everyone's going to be interested in checking out Blackcraft Wrestling. So I feel with the pay-per-view, the Revolver stream, and the show overall, I feel that it was a successful first test run.
Who's the real magician here?
Well, I can certainly tell you who the Joker is.
Oh! Look out! The Beast's on! He lays it! Hooks the leg! KTB wins!
We were really big on making the match fucking insane.
Fine. Being decimated.
And I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's like a car crash to the next fucking big thing.
The second row. Oh, we caught him.
I said it in the intro. Power personified from Stockade.
That is a very unforgiving ramp. Now Matt Justice off the top.
on that show, I felt like was the solid fucking thing. And I just wanted it to be that every time. So once I saw that and I saw the product, the end result, I wanted it to be that fucking product every single time. And I feel like there was times it was and times it wasn't. So, but that was definitely, I say, if it was going to look like anything to show people and be like, hey, give this a chance, that was the perfect show to do it, because I felt like there was nobody could shit on them. Nobody could shit on them.
In hindsight, I think Burning Bridges was definitely a success. We sold out the venue. We did a decent amount of streams, pay-per-view. And just like I said, the atmosphere itself was unlike any live wrestling show I've been to in quite a while. It had such a, it was just this feeling of nostalgia, almost like an old ECW type show where you could feel like anything at any moment could happen, because it truly could. And it was a hell of a show, man. We had Paige from WWE as a part of the show, which is unheard of. Falling in reverse with a hell of a performance to end the night. It was a great way to kick off every storyline that we had planned and see where the brand was going to grow and go with the next show.
Every wrestling company needs a main driving story to get the audience truly invested, and Blackcraft Wrestling chose to pit the former Cenobite turned cult leader Doug Bradley against one of indie wrestling's best and up-and-coming bad boys, Matthew Justice.
Talked about this promos in the woods earlier. That's when we first met Matt Justice. Bill had reached out to a bunch of guys and said, hey, we're doing something out in the woods. If you guys want to be a part of it, cool. And Matt was one of the guys that replied and came. He just had a really good attitude, and he was willing to go the extra mile and stay there till the wee hours of the morning to get the shoots done. So it was something that was definitely appreciated. And we looked at him and said, okay, there's a lot of potential here. Like, we could build this guy. We could put him in a good storyline. He's got a good build. He's got a good work ethic, man. The guy puts his body on the line just seeing what he does now. We just felt like Matt Justice was the guy to go with. As far as an established name, I mean, Johnny Blackcraft, right? It's almost like you have to go that route. But we wanted it to be Matt Justice in that spot. So it was the program to build him up and make him a believable face within our company.
Basically filmed an indie wrestling show in the middle of nowhere, like West Virginia, and I was wrestling and I got kidnapped by the dudes in robes, so the druids, the preachers called, and they abducted me. Because at the show I ended up, it was all filmed like not in chronological order because they knew the story before the show, so I ended up at the show, I spit blood in the preacher's face instead of joining his cult.
Somewhere along the line we had the bright idea of, what if we also added 4 additional shows afterwards? Because why the fuck not, right? Let's try to carry through with a television program, essentially, to carry our storylines from show to show, because that's a good idea. On paper, it was a good idea. In reality, I wish we had put a little bit more effort and energy into it. When it came down to the actual production and shooting of those 4 episodes, a lot of things, it was kind of like Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong. But overall, I think it was a fun experience getting everyone out in the woods to produce this epic battle between Matt Justice and the Druids, led by the Preacher. I mean, we drove a truck into a wrestling ring. I don't know if that had been done before that. I don't know.
With a successful first show complete and a strong narrative to take them forward, Blackcraft Wrestling seemed poised to take over the indie wrestling world. But sadly, en route to their next show, Spirits of the Dead, small cracks would begin to form. If you want to make it to the top, you're gonna need the people behind you. But did the attendees of Blackcraft Wrestling truly understand the satanic overtones of the presentation, and more importantly, did they embrace them?
I feel like the people who were really dedicated to it and took the time to watch the Join the Cult and actually try to understand the characters and the logic and psychology behind them, yes, I think they got it. I think overall, wrestling fans in general did not like it because, you know, we're a satanic wrestling company. A large, vast majority of the wrestling audience, believe it or not, are religious. And we may have been tapping into a demographic that really didn't fit our brand, so to speak. So I feel like a lot of the dark, eerie, satanic imagery that we showcased turned a lot of people off to our product. But at the same time, the talent and the things we were doing, it was enough for people to get their interest piqued a little bit and say, all right, well, what is going on over here? There were definitely a lot of eyes on it, which was awesome. And, you know, it was something that just continued to grow and grow and grow when we had only put out one show.
I don't know that I can't say that every person that may have seen that understood or got it. You're going to have the people, just like anything else in life, you're going to have those people that only kind of look at one thing because they just see this. It's just this, you know, whether it's the blatant imagery of, you know, a pentagram or anything like that, they immediately go to this is probably negative, which 90% of the time it's a play off the fact that we aren't worshiping Satan. We're just using this imagery because it is kind of this way of saying, like, this is what you think, but you don't know, and you don't get it. And if you they want to take that and use that as like the catalyst for them not watching something or whatever, people are going to do that. It's just how the world works. So, you know, I think there is people that may have missed out and didn't want to take part in it because of the imagery. And maybe that on a wide basis, maybe it would just be a niche or a cult kind of following, you know, and I think that's okay too, though, because you think about the amount of people too that are into that sort of thing, or, you know, they kind of embrace that.
No. The audience did not get Blackcraft whatsoever. It was alternative. It was meant to shock and awe. It was meant to be a shop of horrors. It was theatrics in the highest thing. It was stunt work. It was, you know, people thought that we were a cult of religious fanatics that worshipped the devil and drank blood, and, you know, and it absolutely wasn't. We were just a group of wrestlers that had either nasty gimmicks or you know, like we had a gimmick that there was a mask or someone involved, or, you know, we were big and muscular and we'd built our names up, or we were just psychotic. But either way, we were a motley crew, and people just, they thought that that's exactly what it is, but they forget that wrestling is just wrestling. Shit, I'm not Soraya Knight. I'm Julia.
With the first show a success, a follow-up was the obvious next step, and that December, BCW would land in Buffalo, New York for a special Christmas-time event known as Spirits of the Dead. Much of the talent from Burning Bridges were signed on for Blackcraft's sophomore effort.
It's just a shot of everybody, and it shows everybody on the top floor and on the bottom, and then like later on at the concert and stuff, and it just looks insane. And there was just so many people there, and I'm gonna say that I felt like the card was a little all over the place at times, and I think it wasn't intentional. I think it was just like, oh man, we realized we have so many people here that we want to potentially put into matches or figure out where we want to do with them, and they were just kind of like cramming everybody together, and I felt like that may have been a little bit of a killer, but not too bad, because there was a lot of, I think that night, there was a lot of multi-man stuff on that show, if I recall. But for the most part, I was pumped about it. And then afterwards at the show and the concert going on, we were all hanging out, fucking meeting fans, and fans were coming up to us saying like, hey man, this is the first time I've ever seen you. This is cool. I really dig this, you know, like stuff like that. I think is always great, because when you're with a product that you know, is already well known and you've been around it, those fans come to the shows every time. So they're just like, oh man, it's a good match. But these people are like, this is the first time I've ever been to like a live wrestling show and shit like that. Like, you know, I just came here to watch this band or this band, but I thought your match was cool, you know? And that in itself was just a really good feeling. And by the end of the night, I mean, yeah, it felt successful. It felt like good. It just felt like there was a lot of bodies.
I flew out there, and it's Every Time I Die's holiday show as well. And I flew out from California to Buffalo, New York, and we were given, the 666 scramble, and it was 6 minutes long, man. So yeah, 6 minutes long right off the bat. So I was kind of bummed to fly to New York, and I had an immediate flight. I couldn't even stay for the whole show. I had to literally go wrestle 6 minutes and hop on the plane and get back to California. And I just remember it being very frustrating. That match specifically, if you look back, I actually went to spit fire in Dick Justice's face at the finish. And I went to light the lighter for the finish, and the lighter flooded. So I called an audible, and I spit lighter fluid into his face and pinned him. And poor Dick Justice was like literally coughing and hacking in the back because I had to just spit the stuff in his face. I couldn't keep the lighter fluid in my mouth, so I just went for it. I apologized to Dick for that, gave him tons of love. But so adding that on top of, I did walk out with the victory that night. So Blackcraft was giving me a little push and helping, they want to be like, hey, we want to be the ones, they told me directly, that put Sticky Dice on the map. And I said I would truly appreciate that. So I went out there and won that 666 scramble.
I'm known for doing the crazy shit and the stunt work and, like no fear and all this sort of stuff, which, I'm not being funny. When I'm in the mood for that shit, God knows what I'm going to do. I run with the buzz off it and I do enjoy it. And when I go to the places and they say to me, Jules, we need you to, any means necessary, fuck yeah, let's see what we can throw someone off or hang someone from, or, so I go straight into that overdrive of let's give people a spectacle that they've got to sit and think, was that fucking real or what? And I like doing those shock moments. And Tyre was up for it. We could have gone in there and wrestled, but does anyone want to see Saraya and I and Tyre Valkyrie wrestle each other? Like in a one-on-one wrestle? Would they rather than punch the shit out of each other? Which I think, made a better match, especially when she speared me through the Christmas tree.
Tyre Valkyrie, a pair of elbows, oh my God! The night the lights went out in Buffalo.
Spirits of the Dead would also mark the next chapter for Matthew Justice, BCW champion Johnny Blackcraft, and Doug Bradley's Preacher, as this would be the debut of the Preacher's chosen son, a wrestler built up to be the Preacher's ultimate weapon. So while Matthew Justice took on the Cowboy James Storm, Johnny Blackcraft would defend his championship against the Preacher's son, none other than future WWE signee Karrion Kross, formerly known as Killer Kross. But that wasn't always going to be the case.
The original chosen son was not Killer Kross. It was someone else. It was going to be Luchasaurus. He was going to be portraying the chosen son character. And then we were going to go ahead with another Join the Cult series for 4 weeks and try to build to the December show. And that Join the Cult series would ultimately lead, go into the backstory of the chosen son. Who was he? How does he know the Preacher? We had already had the mask for the chosen son in production, so we couldn't totally can it. Plus, we had already teased it the last show, so it's like, all right, we have to deliver on the storyline. So that's when Killer Kross came into play. I saw his stuff on Impact, and I thought it was a pretty good fit for our brand. He was a hell of a worker. I loved his character. And after reaching out to him, he was just a really, really, really good guy. He was down to work with us. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, to be honest with you, because, having him perform for us was, it was an honor, because he was a great guy and he put on a hell of a match.
Counting them down. Blackcraft had the presence of mind to land on his feet.
This is incredible from Blackcraft. Even when you...
Former 5-time world champion. Oh no!
Blackcraft's still holding the mic.
The screams of Johnny Blackcraft were like music to my ears.
He's usually a super smart man, Johnny Blackcraft, but you have to question the wisdom of taking that much time to talk him across, especially after he popped up such a little while ago, as he almost takes the head off of Johnny Blackcraft.
While a bit crammed and a bit chaotic, BCW's Holly Jolly trip to hell was met with a good response in and out of the company. This would be followed up by a crossover show with Destiny Wrestling up in the Great White North that would be known as The Ritual.
The Ritual was a very unique show. The proposition came from Destiny. They reached out to us, and we touched base and we kind of filled them out a little bit, checked out their product, and really what kind of shows they were putting on, and it's quality stuff. But overall, I think it was a good show. The Blackcraft side of it shined through a little bit, but man, we were the heels going into that thing, because the home base at Destiny, they were dedicated. They loved their guys no matter what. It was good, but essentially, I mean, we were the heel wrestling company. If you look at everyone else who was out there, we just got a bunch of guys who wear black and were like evil motherfuckers. So it fit. Like, why not? Let's just do it anyway. It was a cool show.
With very little drama from their first outing of the new year, things seemed on track for BCW and their upcoming WrestleMania weekend show. But one night in Jersey City was about to change all of it. It's time to get the uncut and unfiltered truth regarding April 5th, 2019 at White Eagle Hall.
There are no apologies.
Just preface this at some point. There's a picture that you could just throw right in there, and the expression on my face and on Matt, our head writer, there's a photo of us just staring at each other in the middle of all this chaos. There's a crucifix in the background. It's the calm before the storm, where you just knew.
The shitstorm was coming.
And it certainly was.
Yeah, Reed, I'm Matthew, the Botchamania guy, and Benjamin Falbo wanted me to talk to you today about Blackcraft Wrestling. No apologies. What is Botchamania? It's a good question, Benjamin. Botchamania is essentially a blooper video series about wrestling that has somehow evolved in this twisty-turny video series about botches, Simpsons references, video game music, any other weird stuff that comes into my head and people send because they want to be part of this odd cult thing. Kind of like Blackcraft, but it's still around in 2020. I had two friends, Ian Hamilton and Arnold Furious, who were both competing against each other, this friendly rivalry, and both of those men were watching every single show that was broadcast that weekend on some streaming service. But both of them sent very detailed messages about, oh my god, no apologies. Like, no apologies? What's that? Oh, it's Blackcraft. Okay. Blackcraft. So, what happened then? What are the notes? He goes, oh, just read the reviews. I remember sitting down and reading this going, bloody hell. Talk about the perfect storm. Start off with a human sacrifice and a crucifixion. Okay.
We really need to prove that the preacher is someone you don't mess with. So what if we took a fan out of the audience and we crucified them? And we really nailed a guy to a cross. I don't know if you've seen the photos, but nails went through this man's hands. And the man who got crucified was actually the same guy who cut open PCO.
Tonight, my friend, you will join the cult. Take him away. Oh, and just one thing. I forgot to tell you that tonight you will join our cult as a human sacrifice.
What? A human sacrifice?
Crucify!
The crucifixion was weird as fuck, number one. I'm not like I'm not really religious, or I'm not really like anti-religion, so I don't really, it doesn't offend me, but it's also just one of those things where like, why?
So what are you doing, dude? He went, well, I've got a cross in the car and they're going to attach me to the cross and they're going to kill the preacher. And I'm like, okay. So my mind, I've already been given a little glimpse into what the fuck is going to go on.
Well, they crucified that dude on the stage, and watching that dude made me feel so weird, like so weird. And they had like this weird music and this weird lighting, and I was just like, what in the blue fuck?
Wait a second. This is, you buy a ticket, they don't mention that it includes 2 nails through your palms. Oh, God. He is 100% a participant in Blackcraft Wrestling.
We
With GCW's Mania outing, Joey Janela's Spring Break Part 3 having run over the limit, resulting in their time at White Eagle Hall being slashed, BCW would try to fit in not only every match they had advertised to a paying audience on Fight, but would look to still deliver on their established satanic showmanship that they'd become known for.
Soraya Knight.
Yes, it makes Cruella DeVille look like Taylor Swift.
So myself and Ravina and his girlfriend, we all go down to the venue, and we've been told we can't get in there. The other show is overrunning. They're not going to take the ring out. They're not going to do this. People are screaming everywhere. People are shouting obscenities at each other, and it's like, dude, seriously, we've got a slot. Get the fuck out. You know, there's no good moaning and shit about it. Get the fuck out. We've all got slots, and this is WrestleMania weekend. Like, fuck. But obviously, I've got to stay out the front way because my mouth is huge. So as the night's gone on, we frantically got in there, and by the time we go backstage, the hall is already turning around and saying to Hierarchy, we're closing on the dot. So I don't care whereabouts you are on your show, we're closing. And it's like, hang on a fucking minute. The dudes in front of us have just fucking overrun by like shitloads. Like, we're not talking about 15, 20 minutes here. We're talking about a whole fucking show. So the dudes in front of us have overrun so much and they didn't get the fucking shit out. And now you're penalizing us. We've got to fit in a full fucking show in like an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah. We're gonna cut sound, we're gonna cut light, and we're gonna cut everything. That's it, on the dot. So we like, you can imagine the poor lads. I mean, they're trying to get their equipment in, they're trying to get their sound gear in, they're trying to set up a fucking show that should already be on, right? While these other guys, they won't allow us to go in until the other guys have come out. So you can imagine the fucking shitstorm that's going on.
Soraya's match with Maria Manic would be one of many matches that would end up being chopped down to a meager 5, and in her case even 3 minutes, due to BCW having decided to dedicate precious time to this, setting up this,
it's gonna be dueling headbutts,
and getting everything in order for this.
But that is going to happen over my dead body.
It was clear close to no one was going to be able to deliver on a lengthy matchup on this night. Sadly, as the night progressed, many of the talent involved would become infinitely more confused, stressed, and befuddled with the chaotic nature of this train wreck in the making.
And we're on a short 2-hour time block, okay? And there's a shitload of matches to go down. I think there was 10 matches, right? Something like that. And guess what? When the match is over, it takes time to switch the ropes back from chains. So that took a minute. So here we are, match by match is going down, and we start getting into match times, and we have to cut the show. The sound guy's like, dude, you guys got to be done by, I think it was like 2 or 2:15, the latest, he kept telling us. And the Battle Royal kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And I started getting frustrated. I was like, dude, I don't even know if this is going to happen anymore.
So when spring break ended, not even everyone's out of the building yet, but we have to start changing over for our show, which means we're running cables now for our new hard cam, for our side cams. We're getting ropes off the ring because our first match is a fucking chain match. So that's a nightmare in itself. We're getting everyone set up and in place and trying to get the show structured down, making sure that everyone's got a rundown in the back. But here's the best part. The seating chart that we sold wasn't the actual seating chart of the venue. So now we also had to recreate the seating chart that we had sold. So it's trying to find chairs, put them in place, get rows together. And there was a lot of unorganized chaos that ensued for the next hour and a half until we actually did start the show. And by that point, our time slot, which I had thought time and time again, we could just go over, it'll be okay, we'll pay a fine. Well, it really didn't work like that. They were dead set on leaving when they were supposed to leave that venue. And, with all due respect, I get it. You told us we had X amount of time and we had planned for this amount of time. And, it just did not work out.
One member of the roster experiencing an added dose of disappointment would be G-Raver, the participant in the aforementioned Devil's Den match with the chain ropes. The match would be changed at the very last minute due to Raver's original opponent, UK star Jimmy Havoc, getting injured.
And then he finally told us that in the morning, that day, that he wasn't going to be wrestling on the show. And I'm just immediately, I just kind of sunk in because I'm like, what the fuck are we going to do? I'm like, what the fuck are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. It's not going to be a maniac. We'll get him and he'll fill in for Jimmy, and the fans will love it. And it's close to, it's close to home in a sense. And me and Schlack, we talked for a little bit, but we didn't really have a ton of time to really think beforehand. We looked at the ring and we went, fuck, okay, the chains are up. And we had zero time to go in and really poke around.
We don't know what's going on in the back. Everyone's times are getting cut. It's just, we try to put 10 pounds of shit in an 8-pound bag.
The maximum, I think, amount of stuff that we did was that I climbed on the chains to see if I could actually stand on the chains to jump off to give him like a double knee finisher for the ending. And it went about as good as you could probably think.
Able to bury that elbow, and now
I can't believe these chains can hold this weight.
he's going for it.
G-Raver!
Good God.
That's gotta be it. Schlack, 2, 3.
And it's over.
G-Raver wins the first Devil's Den match.
That is not going to happen. And you do not get to make demands of me.
I'm not asking. I'm telling you.
You don't tell the preacher shit.
And I am telling you that is going to happen over my dead body.
Oh no.
Okay, stop for just 1 second. Now, this looks crazy, right? But believe it or not, the original idea is even crazier.
I don't know if you remember, we had advertised an open challenge, PCO. My original idea, which I'm very happy didn't happen because it was probably a terrible idea in retrospect, we were going to have New Jack answer the challenge. And we wanted PCO to just no-sell everything to the point where New Jack gets pissed, right? And then we want Jack to pull out a pistol and say, "This ain't fake, motherfucker." And like really just like cause a panic, because why not, right? We want to make it seem real. So the this is fucking terrible. As I say it back now and just hear myself, I'm like, oh God, this is just terrible. This is terrible. But we wanted it to get to the point where New Jack pulls out the gun. They're on opposite ends of the ring. New Jack shoots him. PCO has blood squirting out of him now with the blood unit. Still no-sells it, goes, hits him with a tombstone, 1, 2, 3, wins. And that was the original plan for the PCO Open Challenge. And I thought I was like, we're following spring break. We need something that's going to be buzzworthy. Crucifixion, yeah, cool. But what if we shot a guy? And that was the running joke throughout the entirety of the planning for the show was, well, what if we just have New Jack come and shoot him?
A legit shoot at a wrestling show. My God. Sadly, due to PCO being signed by Ring of Honor in the weeks leading up to the event, the Open Challenge was scrapped. And in its place, something else would need to match that level of insanity, and, well, just watch.
What the fuck?
Oh my God! Kevin! Oh God, Kevin!
This?
Oh my
Somebody
fucking God!
the fucking camera!
I just killed the fucking preacher!
Matthew Justice!
He just slit his goddamn throat!
Someone get a fucking medic! Someone call 911!
Kevin, I didn't sign up for this. You're on your own, buddy. I'm out of here.
So as all these matches, it started off late. They spent time with the Sacrifice dude. Okay, so you go on cagematch.net, and which featured in the video, and see how quick some of these matches were. After Chris Dickinson versus Masato Tanaka, I'm not going to have any issues with them going along. And then it's Maria Manic versus Saraya Knight. goes quick. It didn't even start the one, did it? David Starr versus Johnny Blackcraft. Oh yeah, Johnny Morrison. That goes seconds. And then Doug Bradley. You know, famous horror actor Doug Bradley just happens to be there. Comes out. The cheesiest line. That'll only happen over my dead body. Okay.
Is the title on the line? He's not asking, he's telling. Justice pins the champion!
For all of everyone's glory, here's the astound. Probably one of the things I'm most asked about is the Blackcraft Wrestling World Championship.
Holy shit! No apologies!
Show you, here's the bag. I got a belt bag. I'll never forget when I won this belt. You see what that says, right, dude? I'll never forget when I won the belt from Johnny Blackcraft, who immediately reverted to being John Morrison, or whatever his independent name is. I was leaving the show and he said, "Oh, wait, bro, let me give you the bag." And I was like, "What?" And then he was like, "Yeah, the belt has a bag." So I'm expecting, you know, obviously when you buy like a title belt, collector's belt, it comes in a bag. But then I get this fucking Blackcraft, whatever, handbag. I was like, wow.
Got his hand raised and stole that gold. That black tinted, Satan infused championship belt. Now around the waist of the man many said it belonged to all along.
Everyone always complains about David Starr and Johnny Blackcraft not having a match. I literally pulled aside the one guy, Matt Light, and I said, "Hey man, how about we just cut this? I don't need to win the title. I don't need to win the title tonight. Let Johnny Blackcraft and David Starr have their match instead of allotting all this time to a segment that people aren't going to care about, or slitting his throat and winning the title. Like, just let him wrestle." And like, no, we need to do this. Like, and they paid a lot of money for the special effects, because like when I slit his throat, that was like a real prosthetic over his neck that I actually slit. Like, it's like the blade was just sharp enough to slice that, and like they had like the paid for all these things to shoot the blood, so they were like absolutely against spending that money and not using that. So I mean, I did it, and I'm glad I did, because it's like this, I don't know, like memorable semi-legendary underground thing,
So in the end, I just kind of turned around and said, "Look, guys, we've got to get these." Some of these boys have traveled 8, 9, and 10 hours to be here today to fucking do a rumble. Let's see what time we've got. Let's equally put it out and give whatever time we can to the lads that have traveled the furthest. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The show's shot now. There's nothing we can do about it. It's gone to pot.
It's just a quick title change. Out comes the preacher. Go slit his throat and go take the title, man, and close out the show. But then when we actually did that, we realized, oh shit, we got like 10 minutes left to go do the battle royals.
And I just remember like getting the video of Fight TV and just watching this battle royal. And even when you can hear people in the crowd or on the production, I can't remember, it's been a while, going, "Wait, what? There's more?"
We started sending everyone out for the battle royal, because fuck it, why not? Everyone's there anyway. You might as well just let them go, put on the match. And
still going on. There's a battle royal, so there's all these people in. And the owners, or whoever runs the building, are switching the lights on and off, click, 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 click.
And there was a point in time where I almost put my clothes back on. I was like, this match isn't going to happen. They're like, dude, it's happening. We get out there, and as I'm winning the battle royal, the lights are on and people are being escorted out.
Click, like, get out, get the fuck out, get out. So everyone's on just like jump over like it's the Titanic sinking and they're all going for lifeboats. And then just Incredible throws a chair.
I remember the whole show was on Botchamania, and the part that I remember says Zicky Dice wins the Baphomet Battle Royal with the help of Riley Madison and the light guy, because he was turning on the lights and as people were leaving.
For as much as I've watched Botchamania in my life, I was truly honored to have been one of the reasons behind an entire segment on a Botchamania show. So yeah, that felt all right. Wasn't too bad about that.
I am a hack. behind a camera. I have never ran a wrestling show, don't pretend to be a promoter, don't pretend to know everything about the business. Having said that, if I had 2 hours and a very strict cut-off time to get out that building, and I don't know what happens if you stay in that building, by the way. Do the police come get you, set the dogs on you, whatever, I don't know. We nearly found out on this show. But I do know if you had that tight time, you have 11 matches, Doug Bradley dying, the Blood Cube from Hellraiser, a crucifixion, an angle, a chain match where the chains need to be taken down, I would perhaps look at not doing some of these things.
Okay. Yeah, man, it was either you loved it or you hated it. You loved it for the train wreck it was, or you hated it because you wanted it to be something that you thought it was going to be.
Mate, if Fire Festival did wrestling, it would be Blackcraft.
With no apologies, a bust in terms of content and public perception, Blackcraft Wrestling would go into hiding, and outside of a few YouTube uploads, have gone dark on social media. A follow-up show post-WrestleMania weekend was never announced.
My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night?
I think that internally we thought it was time to take a break. We'd intentionally created it so that the storylines kind of, came to an arc there at that show, as far as Justice killing the preacher.
My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold winds blow.
Seeing the rise and fall of something like Blackcraft Wrestling is both inspiring and legitimately disappointing. To see so many work to build something so special that could have been so much more. The final question that I asked these warriors of the underworld was simply, if you had the choice, would you do it all again?
I definitely think Blackcraft was at a time when really, like I said, as far as like exposure that everyone is seeing or talking about, and Blackcraft Wrestling was the other like main regular booking and opportunity that I had, and not just like to wrestle guys I've already wrestled, but like to wrestle like a James Storm, or to wrestle Gangrel. That's who I wrestled at that show, WrestleMania weekend. And or to work with a legendary horror actor like Doug Bradley. So yeah, I would do that again anytime.
In the pines where the sun don't ever shine.
If he asked me to do all over again, I would. And I would for the people that I met. There's an amazing crew at Blackcraft. Absolutely, such a good crew. And I would love to be around those guys again. And they look after you, and they're loyal, and they're honest, and there's no bullshit with them, and they say as it is.
My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold winds blow.
I mean, there isn't anything that I had high aspirations for it. Everyone did. This was the first thing that people really had, this was a baby of somebody's, and they really put into this. They really wanted to build this up to this great thing. I sit here a lot of the time, I say to myself and I say to my friends that were involved in not only this company, but a couple other companies, and we should be sitting here, we should be fucking millionaires, but we're not.
In the pines where the sun don't ever shine, I'd shiver the whole night through.
It was like, oh man. And just everyone's morale toward the end was kind of just beat up, we kind of knew what happened once it was all said and done. And it's a huge bummer, looking back, I had a lot of fun there. I met a lot of new people, and I was able to see some old friends, and it was really a chance for myself to grow.
In the pines where the sun don't ever shine, I'd shiver the whole night through.
I would totally do it all again. Being a 28-year-old with the level of involvement I had with a professional wrestling company that was all just created from scratch, something that we did. We created it, you know? We created images and moments that we have people talking about still now, a year or two later. It's still there. We did that, you know? The PCO video, like, the man has a scar on his chest, a physical scar on his chest because of something we did. And that's something that he carries with him. And that's just something that, I don't know, man. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into this thing. And it was a lot of fun. It was a wild ride. And I would totally do it again. Absolutely.
My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, the sun, the shine, and shiver the whole night.
I think, and this is just my theory, I think the entire thing was really just a dream that Zicky Dice had after a hard weekend of partying back in the 80s, man.
You know who else you're talking to? You're talking to the first ever and last ever wrestling match for Blackcraft Wrestling. I wrestled both the first and last Blackcraft match ever.
Because if you think about it, the first match, Zicky Dice, he loses. The last match, Zicky Dice, he finally gets his win, and he wakes up. I don't know, man. I don't know.